Alrighty, guys. Good morning. How's everyone doing? So, a little bit of drama. People, my hair's all messed up this morning. Um, I can feel the panic in the air. So, a little bit of a pullback. Makes you question. Are we going to hold some levels? Are we going to pull back deeper? What I like to do on days like today is I like to zoom out. Zooming out helps a lot. Zooming out, focusing on longer dated support levels, and also looking back at the last year, the behavior of last year. So I'm gonna go through a lot of that today. We're gonna probably focus a little bit more on the Nasdaq and on the futures a little bit. And we'll see how this goes. All right. So yesterday, is a great humbling reminder of portfolio risk. So things can go down as fast as they go up, and the last 2 days is not that much of a downside move, to be quite honest, guys. I don't even know if it's more than 1%. It might be like 1.5%. So from yesterday's highs to where we are now is 1.5%. So is that a big drop? Not really. But if you are over leveraged in your particular portfolio, if you have too many upside plays, too much risk on your portfolio, then things can get a little bit ugly, right? So as good as things can get and as greedy as you can get, it's always important to make sure that you don't have too much risk on your portfolio, because on days like today and yesterday, you don't need to worry as much. But we have seen a pullback, and I think the people that protect their capital and stay around will come out prosperous on the end. So yeah, Upstart was killed. And I think it needed to be killed. Upstart was up way too much. So it's actually quite good to see that on Upstart. I never took a play. I never took an earnings play. I never took anything. I looked for plays multiple times, and I just couldn't get myself to get into it. So I'm happy I held off on that one. But we'll see what happens. Maybe this earnings pullback is actually a great opportunity. So we'll go ahead and go through some stuff today, guys. We'll go through the futures, look at some pullbacks. We'll talk a little bit about where I think we can hold, where we can move lower. And we'll also make sure that we remember that this is only 2 days, the beginning 2 days of this week. And a lot of things are not falling apart, and a lot of things are actually quite holding up pretty well. So we'll take both sides of the story here. We'll be as neutral as we can, and just get a good overall view of what's going on right now. So that is what we'll do in today's stream. Not congratulations, welcome. I don't know why I said congrats. Well, congratulations to anyone that was green the last 2 days. If you were, great job. If you played some downside, great job. And welcome to everyone that's here on the stream. So here we go. Futures, going to be important. We would definitely need to be knowing where this market is. If you watched my video yesterday, it talks about the importance of knowing where the market is right now. Do you really want to be opening up bullish swing trades with a lot of size? Maybe not. Maybe you take some small ones because you think the market rebounds. But cash accounts tomorrow, yeah. So the market's not closed, but it probably won't settle. Which actually might be a good thing for some people. So they maybe stop trading. So we'll look at futures. As always, earnings calendar. Earnings calendar today. We had some earnings yesterday. Upstart, Coin, DoorDash, Neo. What did Neo end up doing? I didn't even look at it. Went down. It's basically flat. Upstart, DoorDash, Neo. What else was yesterday? Let's see. 1 second here. We had Coinbase, Fubo, Plug, Wynn Resorts. So we hit some big ones, but we have some today as well. So we need to look at that. 8:30 today. Don't let me forget. CPI data. That comes out at 8:30 today. So that could change a little bit of where the market's going. So we need to be aware of 8:30 CPI data, see how that does. Tesla pulled back to $1,000 this pre-market, and it is currently bouncing off of that. Could this be a nice support level for Tesla? That $1,000 level, it looks like it wanted to test it yesterday, and it tested it this morning about 50 cents off that $1,000 level. So we'll look at that. Today we should have the Rivian IPO, which is backed by Amazon, which I think could be helping Amazon, which is, I'm not quite positive if that's the reason, but Amazon was very strong yesterday, and Amazon is actually higher in the pre-market than yesterday's close, which is quite interesting. So we definitely want to look at Amazon today. Lucid also should be on watch. We'll see how that does. I'm not expecting, a huge sympathy move there. I think that's what most people think are going to happen, but that doesn't seem like, I wouldn't expect just Lucid to go crazy because Rivian IPOs. I don't know. I could be wrong, but it doesn't seem like you'd expect that type of move. Coinbase, Upstart, we'll look at both of them. Look at where they pulled back to. Look at the destruction that happened. Pretty ugly, but also very good. Very, very good. Now, everyone that's been, sitting on the sideline on Upstart and Coinbase, maybe this is your opportunity. So it's good to see these pullbacks. You just got to be a little bit patient, right? And this is just another example of why playing to earnings is just, if you play downside, sure. But it's so dangerous. We can touch on on Hertz, Breadman. Yeah, so guys, I bought 100 shares of Hertz yesterday. I think I'm a pretty decent believer in that company coming back, and I just wanted to buy some shares for my long-term portfolio. So I bought 100 shares of it yesterday. If you guys don't know, Hertz is back trading on the Nasdaq under the ticker HTZ, and we'll see what happens there. We've seen the positivity around the earnings on Avis Rental Group, and I think I continue to think rental car companies will come back with the high demand, with the high margins. And I think Hertz is a good 100-share purchase just for the long term. I'm not going to touch it. I don't care if this goes to 10. I don't care if it goes to 2. I don't care if it goes to 0. Now, personally, I really don't know much about, so to make things clear, guys, yes, I used to work at Hertz. I used to work at their headquarters. But I personally don't know anything about what's going on anymore. I'm very disconnected. I have some buddies that work there, but they don't, we can't talk about that stuff, and I don't trade off that, I'm not going to buy 100 shares. If I knew something, I'd probably buy more than 100 shares, guys. But I don't know. I don't know anything. I believe in the company. Hertz is, when I worked there, it's a really well-ran company. I like the way they do things, and I just think that they have such a strong brand name that I think they come back. I think they find a way back. I can't imagine that company giving up. So with that type of history behind the name, I think they will be just fine. So if it goes to 3, yeah, maybe if it goes to 3, I'll sell out. But hey, guys, it's Hertz is open market, right? I'm perfectly normal to buy 100 shares of Hertz. It's not like I know something that you guys don't. Hertz is an open trading back on the stock market, and I'm buying 100 shares. So I bought 100 shares. We'll see what happens there. A firm sympathy move. I was never at the rental booth. I was in the headquarters, so I've never rented an actual car. So a firm sympathy move with Upstart. So Affirm and Upstart are sort of like they move together, which is interesting. They are sort of in a similar, they're not really in the same type of business, but they're sort of in that fintech sort of space. I guess it's a loose comparison, but they definitely moved together recently. So Affirm took a pretty nasty hit yesterday off of Upstart's earnings, and Affirm is still pretty high up there. They have earnings today after hours. So this could be an interesting one. This could be another downside move here for Affirm after running up so much. We shall see. I'm not going to be playing earnings, but we can go ahead and look at it. Close the deal for a gentleman who said he trained you there years ago. Huh, Eric. Eric, that's funny. Was his name Des? Eric? Desmond? If it is, that's awesome. He's a great guy. Nvidia under 300. So this morning, Nvidia taking a move lower under 300. We'll look at Nvidia, do some analysis. Dash, big move on DoorDash today, off earnings. So we'll look at DoorDash, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the Amazon outperformance that we've seen. We'll look at the daily chart. It looks pretty good, and we've seen a lot of outperformance there on Amazon yesterday, which is interesting. I mean, Amazon very rarely moves against the NASDAQ, so that is something that I'm definitely watching today. That's about the calendar that I have. If you guys are a member of the YouTube channel, you can go to the Google Docs and put in your tickers. And if there's not much in the Google Docs, then I'll be willing to take some in the chat later on today. Not right now, guys, so please don't spam the chat with tickers because I'm not going to pay attention to it right now. All right. So first things first, let's go ahead and look at the earnings calendar here. So here we go. Earnings calendar. So we have SoFi, Disney, Wish, Affirm. Not so sure about Open Door. I've never traded it. Beyond Meat, Root, Tattooed Chef, Progenity, I'm not sure what that is, and Gevo, I'm not sure what that is either. So these seem like biotechs, not really interested. But Affirm, very interesting. Disney and SoFi, those are interesting to me. So I'm definitely going to be watching those three. I'm not going to play them, but I will be interested to see how they move, and how they continue post earnings. So those are today, guys. Make sure you're aware of that. This morning we had Fiverr, and I think Fiverr actually made a pretty big move this morning, so we can take a look at that. Fiverr, Wendy's, some other ones, but the big is after hours today, so make sure you guys are aware of those earnings. And then finally, we have, one second, economic calendar. Today at 8:30. Right? Yeah. So we have CPI, core CPI, jobless claims. So those are some things that we need to be aware of at 8:30 today. So if you guys want to remind me, 8:30, jobless claims, CPI data, that could potentially move the market today. So we'll take a look. All right. So we did that. Now let's go ahead and jump into the NASDAQ. So NQ, what are we looking at here, right? Here we go. Daily chart. Here's the first thing I want to do. And the first thing that I want to do is I want to show you guys last November. Hold on, I'm trying to make sure I have the right. I'm actually going to go to the 4 hour. I like the 4 hour better for this example. 4 hour. Let's pull out to 360 days. All right, here we go. So we're in a November move, right? And last year we did almost the exact same thing. November to February, we had November to February, we had about a 25% move. So we're sort of on that similar trajectory. The slope looks a little bit steeper than last year, which is a little bit concerning. But here we go, guys. This is November. Let me go ahead and get the time things. November 1st to, let's bring it to January 1st. So November to January is right here, in between these two red lines. And what you guys will notice is there were pullbacks along this run, right? So we had some decent pullbacks. This one was pretty nasty. It got very overextended. This was about 6%. This little midweek pullback was about 2%. We had a little pullback here, about 0.5%. Pullbacks here around 1.2%. This one was a little bit deeper, about 3%. And then this one about 2.5%. So, is what we're seeing right now, and I'll go ahead and look at us right now, is what we're seeing right now just one of those, when we look in hindsight, maybe in about two to 3 months, is this just one of those little midweek pullbacks that we should expect that goes ahead and bounces and we continue higher on our run higher. That is 100% possible. I mean, that it may not come to fruition, but that is definitely something that is possible here, guys. I mean, we've had plenty of midweek 1 to 2% pullbacks that just end up bouncing and they look like nothing in hindsight. So I am not going to let myself ignore the fact that this could just be a little bit of a pullback. I'm also not going to let myself ignore the fact that this could be something deeper. So I'm going to stay as neutral as I can here. But I'm not going to just be irrational and say that, oh my God, the market's done, we are over, and everything's falling apart. Because there is plenty of 2 to 1.5% pullbacks along the ride higher here. And if you have long-term contracts or if you have long-term positions, I don't think it's right to be selling out of them on these small pullbacks. Now, if you bought the top of Tesla yesterday with some Friday expiration contracts, well, that's a different story, right? That's something you probably shouldn't be doing in the first place. If you're really trying to buy contracts for 3 days out, trying to guess where the market goes in 3 days, that's a little bit more difficult. But if you got something longer term, you definitely need to be looking longer term. And at this point, I'm definitely, I'm in that indecision stage right now, I will say. A little bit of indecision. But I'm not going to be, overly bearish here. I will say I'm a little bit undecided. The one thing that I will still hold true to is that I believe the NASDAQ will eventually pull back to this high. I've said that many times on the stream, and I still believe that could be a possibility because this would be a fantastic break and retest. We never pulled back to this high. We did pull back past these. So, for example, right? So it may not happen, and I'll show you why this may not happen. We never pulled back to this high here, right? This 14,040. We broke it. We never retested it. So this could maybe never retest this 1440, and maybe this one never retests. Maybe we just continue higher here. But if we do pull back to there, I still believe this market's bullish. And if you look at the daily chart, guys, a pullback to 15,680, which is about 700 points lower from where we are now, is still quite a bullish chart, right? What's bearish about this chart here if we were to pull back to 15,680? So at this point, I think you got to be a little bit lenient on the pullbacks because they should come. I think it's normal. Let's go ahead and dive into some shorter term analysis here. So let's go to the 15-minute and let's look at where this market is currently holding. So there is the tiniest little area of support that we are holding off of right now on the NASDAQ. I don't even know if you guys could see this on your chart. If you could see this, if you're on mobile, you probably won't be able to see it. I'll zoom into this right here. It is right here from Wednesday of last week. If you guys see this area right here, you guys see this little consolidation, little pullback, little hold, little flag breakout at 16,120. That level is what we're holding right now. So we're holding on to dear life on that little hold right there. You guys can see the bounce this pre-market right off that level. So that is the level here, the 16,120, that little support that we're holding right here in the pre-market. So that will be the key level today. If we break below that level, you can see, look at this day. Where's the structure? There is none. Excuse me. The next structure is down here to around 16,000 flat. Right around here, 16,000 psychological. And you guys can see there is a nice little move lower potential there. If you do break below that, you got this nice little gap here that I think you probably move through pretty quickly. Right down here. Not much support in this area. You can see just a really quick move higher back here on Wednesday of last week. And I would expect you to move down pretty quickly if you start to get, some really strong selling pressure below this 16,120. So that's the level to watch today. Longer term, I saw someone ask a question about what I consider longer term. I would expect, longer term, probably at least 2 to 3 months is probably what I would expect. Slightly longer term for option contracts. But 6 months, a year, I wouldn't even be questioning things if I had 6 months to a year at this point. But if you're in 2 months out, 3 months out, 4 months out, then you're still in that. You got a little bit of time, a little bit longer term, but anything within 30 days is I would not is a little bit more concerning. I like to take things outside of 30 days. So short term, looking at this on the 15-minute, there's your key level, 16,120. Would love to see that hold, and I will note this really quick. I really don't mind seeing, and I think a lot of people probably know this as well, seeing downside in the pre-market is actually sometimes quite a good thing. Strong pre-markets can actually cause really ugly days because the buying in the pre-market that you see, if we're moving up pre-market, can be quite weak. There's not a lot of volume, not a lot of strong buyers, and it's pretty easily manipulated, the pre-market, because of how low the volume is. So some downside in the pre-market is not too bad of a thing. It sometimes actually sets up for very bullish days. So let's not be doom and gloom this morning. I know it's a little bit rough to be looking at. I'm sure some of your positions are going to be down, but there is still opportunities to the upside here. So let's go ahead and stay neutral. On the grand scheme of things, looking at the daily chart, I am still thinking that this could be just a little bit of a multi-day pullback for another move higher. Until it proves me otherwise, that's what my belief is going to be. But, I have the freedoms to think like that and to not worry about if we pull back. The reasons I have those freedoms is because I'm not over leveraged in a portfolio, and I'm comfortable with the risk that I have on my portfolio. If you guys are comfortable with the risk that you have on your portfolio, then you don't need to be so worried about small pullbacks on the market. If you are out there chasing and over-leveraging because you're trying to become rich tomorrow, that's when these things start to really hurt you. But if you're comfortable with the risk in your portfolio, there's really no reason to be panicked. So I just hope people can understand that and just really, manage. I think a lot of people, I think something that's not poorly talked or very poorly talked about on YouTube or anywhere is portfolio management. That's a real thing, right? Like, you guys, people hire people to manage portfolios. Portfolio management is a real thing. That is a skill that you need to have if you want to manage a real portfolio. If you just have a trading account with a few $1,000s and you're just throwing YOLOs out there, that's not a portfolio, right? I trade in a portfolio. I trade in a portfolio of stocks, with cash, with options. It's a three-headed monster. I got my cash, I got my options, and I got my stock. And I need to manage that portfolio in the long term. So I trade with about 30% of options. I have about 60% of stock and about 10% of cash. That's what I like to keep it at. Sometimes it sort of goes around. But managing that portfolio is key. And as long as I'm, if I'm just trading with 30% of options, if I lose on, 2% of it, it's not a big deal. I'll be okay. So managing portfolios, something that a lot of people do not pay attention to. They just think they have a trading account and they can go 100% of options. Some of you may like to do that. I personally don't. I really like trading in portfolios because my option profits can pay for more shares, or my option losses can be sort of helped out by stock, which is potentially increasing over time. So it's a nice little environment, a nice little portfolio. So portfolio management, something that I think a lot of people should really focus on. But anyways, ES, you got a nice little support level here around 46.50. I think that's going to be key, 46.50. You're still pretty far off that, so no concerns. I mean, this ES pullback is really not concerning, guys. From the highs to where we are now, it's 0.85%. 70% DWAC, YOLO. Very nice. Yeah, 70% DWAC. I like it. 0.8% pullback on the SPY. Nothing that's going to panic me. I would just watch 46.50, guys. Under 46.50, you probably get a pullback to around 46.25. But 46.50, until we get down to there, absolutely no concerns here. YM, The Dow, beautiful little retest yesterday, something we've talked about multiple times. Look at the stair steps that the Dow continues to make. It comes in so small. Yeah, well, you're probably on mobile, I'm assuming. So I can't, I mean, I don't know what you want me to do. You want me to look at it like this? That's just ugly. I don't like looking at it like that. So here is the Dow, and you guys can see just some really nice stair-stepping patterns here, just continuously moving higher. This is your recent stair step here at 36,000. You guys can see, boom, boom, nice hold. As long as we hold there, I would expect some Dow outperformance today. If tech gets weak today, Dow could outperform, so keep an eye on that. But Dow, absolutely no concerns. If we go to the daily chart, everything looks just fine. Little pullback, nothing that I would be panicking over. And yeah, that was the hourly on the Dow. So here's the hourly again for you guys to see. Hourly chart, nice little retest right there. Perfect. Yeah, little stairway to heaven. Love it. Love it. Little stairway to heaven. So nice Dow. Hourly chart holding that 36,070. I like it. Here's the daily chart. Looks just fine. Nice consolidation to a breakout. And just like I said with the Dow or the Nasdaq guys, this retest will probably eventually come. And if it does, it's a huge buying opportunity, right? If that retest comes right there on this pullback, huge buying opportunity. Would love to buy some Dow plays off of this pullback if we get it. Absolutely. All right. So that's the futures, guys. All right, John, me boy. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe zoom in. Earnings calendar, we did it. Futures, we did it. Russell, yeah, let's do Russell. You're right. I always forget about the Russell. So we know Russell, big push higher. Nice consolidation for a long time. Big push, big breakout. That's good. Let's go ahead and look at the 15-minute. All right, here we go. So it's clear. This is definitely a support level here, like we just had, right around this 2,400. So definitely watch 2,400 to the downside. It's about 20 points lower. And then above that, probably these high, this wick high here is what's holding, right? So that wick high right here, around 24.13. Yeah, guys, that's actually a really good point from investing, swing trading, day trading. If you guys watch my streams with your own charts up, this is probably the best way to do it. You know, have your charts up while I do this. Do it with me. It's probably the best way to learn. Yeah, 2 minutes till CPI, but 24.13, that wick high holding up very nicely. Your Nvidia call is yeah. I'm actually went ahead and sold those, buddy. So I don't get that. I don't get effed. I don't allow myself to get effed. Idiot. So 24.13, hold. Very nice support. 2,400, nice support down here. So Russell looks okay. Just watch the 24.13. I didn't do Tesla yet. I just did the futures. So that's what I'd be watching, 24.13 and 2,400. All right. So let's go ahead and get ready for CPI, I guess, here, and then we'll get through everything else. So let's just have a live look at what CPI data does to this market here. We have about 20 seconds. He probably just came here to say that and then ditched. Funny. All right, we got 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. All right, let's see what we get. Oh, little downside. Let's see what the continuation is. All right, let's see. Let's see if this causes some downside today. I'm going to wait for... wait for the news to come out. Yeah, I mean, it's look at it holding that level. It's trying. It looks like it's trying, but it looks like it's losing a little bit of steam. Pillow chops. And they're a little messy today. I'm waiting on some news. Here we go. You got it first. Core CPI year over year actual 4.6, forecast 4.3, previous 4.0. So a little bit of an increase. Okay, that's a little bit of a nasty drop through that support there. Okay, so showing, what is it? A little bit of inflation. A little bit, yeah, a little hot. Coming in a little hot. Let's see. I mean, this is an important drop that we're seeing here. This may cause more downside. Let's look at this 4 hour. So 4 hour 50 SMA. That's around 16,100. Yeah, this is the NASDAQ. When should I panic? 16,100 and then 16,000, guys. That's what I would be saying. 16,100 and then 16,000. 16,100 is the 50 SMA, and 16,000 is a nice little psychological level. So here we go. Let's see. 16,100 is that 50 SMA. I'm going to put that right here. And I'm going to turn it yellow. And I'm going to write 50 SMA. So right there, that's the 50 SMA on the 4 hour. You guys can see it right here. 15, it's actually at 15,107. So I'm going to put it at 16,107. Right? Yeah, 16,107 is where the 50 SMA is on the 4 hour. So let's see, does that hold? It looks like it's probably finding a little bit of something at this level, at this 50 SMA. But let's not waste all our time looking at this, guys. This obviously will affect some of the things we look at today. So if you start to see this thing really sell off, then things are going to get a little bit not as good as we'd like to see today. So let's see. We'll see what happens. We'll see if we hold here. CPI a little bit hot. HEXO. I'll go ahead. What is H? I'll look at that later. Senor Muchacho, thank you, sir. HEXO. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm not going to look at this. I wish I could give your $2 back. But, this is just not a stock that I would recommend. I appreciate the two Canadian dollars. I would just say, to give you anything, I would just say you need to see this thing start to make an uptrend. This is just not a stock that I would be watching. Maybe you can try to catch something here, but I really, unfortunately, I can't really help you with this kind of move. This is just a really ugly move. Looks like a penny stock, and you just need to get lucky, basically. So I apologize. Doesn't look great. All right, so let's get back into our normal. Action here. Banks are moving up. Yeah, a little bit of movement on banks. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So we got our downside move this morning off of CPI. We're trying to hold up here, but let's go ahead and look at Tesla. Let's do Tesla. We got to go quick. We have, we don't have too much time here. So Tesla, daily chart actually. Daily chart. Very big pullback from the highs. Very big, back down about 20%, 19.5%, 20%, guys. That's a 20% pullback on Tesla. That's pretty decent. It's pretty big sized pullback. So looking at this, what we can see on the daily chart is actually a pretty nice 20 SMA hold. 1,020. 1,020 is the 20 SMA, guys, and that looks like it could potentially try to find some support. And I know we're moving down a little bit here in the pre-market. 1,020 is the 20 SMA, and then 1,000 psychological would be the two levels that I would be watching. If you break down that 1,000 psychological level, then I think things can get a little bit nasty. Let's go out to let's go to the 30-minute chart. Actually, you know what? We need more time. Let's go 4 hour. So 4 hour chart is actually probably the right one to look at. So here's the 4 hour. 1,000 is definitely the level to be watching. If we break below 1,000, there's a gap here on the daily chart, I believe. Let me go back. There's a gap on the daily chart, which maybe needs to come down to. The low of this candle is 944. The low of this candle is at 944. The high of this candle is 910. So you have this gap right here, right in this area. And I wonder if it wants to fill that gap right here in this area. So if we break 1,000, I would probably expect it to come down into the mid 900s. And then maybe find some support here at the start of this gap, maybe right here in this area. So let's see, $1,000, that's the key level today. Tesla, very nasty pullback yesterday. To be expected with some of the drama that's going on and the ridiculous move that we've seen. I would by no means think that Tesla is done, in the medium term. So we'll just have to see where this pullback starts to slow. $1,000, that's what I'd be watching today. That's the key level. Rivian IPO, Lucid guys gave back some gains yesterday. Today we're expecting Rivian to report or to become public. Yesterday we did break below this uptrend, so it's not looking too good anymore. You did break below this uptrend. You couldn't quite get to that 50. You need to hold this yesterday's low, 42.50, right in this area on Lucid. You broke the uptrend, so that's no longer valid. 42.50 needs to hold. If that does not hold, then you're probably going to flush under here. Maybe back down to some of these previous highs, 40.37, and then you have these lows here around 38.50s. So those are probably some levels I'd watch. But I'm not someone that's believing too much into sympathy move on Lucid because of Rivian IPO. I think Amazon would probably move a little bit more than Lucid would, but we'll see. I could be wrong. So let's see. Do we hold 42.50? That would be what I'm watching today on Lucid. Pedro, PV, thank you, sir. I appreciate that, PV. Thank you, bro. Thank you for all the support. You've been here a while. All right. Coin. So, daily chart. Yeah, I think the Rivian IPO is they're saying is very, very overvalued. But I don't know. I could be wrong. All right. Coin. So push higher on coin, pull back. You got a little bit of support here at this 308 area. You can see right here in this 308 area, right there, 308, 310. You're starting to try to hold up. Big fall off earnings, just about 16%. So beat the expected move on earnings. So if you played downside, great. I think that you should expect. I was expecting it to come down here to 292s. Now, why do I say that? Because I think you probably want to retest some of these previous highs. You have a previous high, some support that came in here. I wouldn't mind seeing this thing come back down to 292. So we'll see. If it doesn't, then this might recover some of this move. But I would like to see that 292 pullback. Someone said Riot's moving. Is crypto moving right now? Yeah, a little bit. So something that would be quite interesting to see if Bitcoin and other cryptos start spiking through all-time highs, if Coinbase just comes right back because of that sympathy move off cryptos, that would be quite interesting. But you guys can see a pretty nice hold so far here at 310 area, 308. Definitely, if you see it drop below these lows, then yeah, you're probably going to come back down to that 292. But this could potentially be a nice little buying opportunity. I know Coinbase didn't have a great quarter, but I still sort of think that long term, this could be a decent, if you want some exposure to cryptos in your long-term portfolio, coin could be a decent play. I wouldn't be too over-leveraged coin, but it could be something to add, to have some exposure to that Bitcoin environment. Upstart, nasty upstart. Just as much as it went up, it looks like it might come down. So we had our fun with Upstart. I definitely missed the bigger move. Had a nice move here that we caught off this trend line. Was thinking about taking it here, but just never set up correctly. Never started to make higher highs. So I left it alone. And yeah, look at earnings. Nasty. Really, really big drop below the trend line and a huge move to the downside. If anyone played puts, congratulations. 30% to the downside. That's big. That's almost as much as Peloton. So we are coming down to maybe this 230 here. That's probably where I'd be looking, 230. After that, you have like this 220 area. And then maybe these lows of like 192. But yeah, this is definitely pretty gross. And probably not something I would touch until you start to see some type of support. So we need to see, where the support comes in. If it does not, I would leave it alone. I would not try to buy a falling knife. Don't try to catch a falling knife here. So 230s, 220s, and then these lows here of around 190, 193. That should be interesting. But yeah, this is a nasty drop and something that I would probably brush under the rug for a little bit. Probably not something that I'll be looking to trade unless I start to actually see this thing find some real support. But right now, guys, ugly off the earnings. I'd probably leave this one alone. Affirm. So we got a little bit of a firm sympathy off that move, right? So Affirm didn't report earnings yesterday, but look at what happened. Nasty move in the after hours, straight down with the Upstart. And this looks like it could be one that's starting to lose some steam too. If you guys go to the daily chart, I mean, this thing is up pretty big, right? And we're at 148.50 in the pre-market. That is, I'm gonna put a candle where that is, 148.50. That's right here. So we're gonna be right around here when we open here in the pre-market, right here. Yeah, chef, we had our fun, buddy, but might be over for Upstart. So we're gonna be right around here at 148.50 when the market opens. You guys can see right at this previous low. Now, if that breaks down today, on a firm with earnings coming up, there's some decent downside here. I mean, this thing is also up 174% in 2 months, 3 months. So is Affirm going to have that same move as Upstart, moved up together? Are they going to move down together? It's interesting. I probably won't play a YOLO put option, but if I was to play Affirm, I would definitely, and if you need it, if you really have that YOLO itch, that would probably be my mindset. I'm not going to do it. I don't recommend it because it's probably just a guaranteed way to lose your money. But, I would expect Affirm to have a similar Upstart move. They move together, and they may move again together on the downside. So this is interesting. Let's see if it holds 148.50. That should be a very strong hold. It's definitely held support there before. If we go to the 30-minute chart, actually, you know what? Let's go to the 4-hour. We can see it is held here multiple times. So does it hold 148.50 like it has held almost 4 or 5 times in the past? Maybe. If not, I think you're coming back down to the 130s. So that's what I'd be watching on Affirm. Nvidia under 300. So nasty move on Nvidia. This was part of the reason. I don't like to talk like this in hindsight because obviously it's easy to say now. But this is part of the reason why I did not want to, one, exercise my contracts, and 2, why I took profits when I did. I took profits. So for anyone that's interested that thinks that I didn't take profits and I'm just losing my money, here it is, guys. Right here. For the guy that messaged earlier, if you're still watching. 11.5. So that was last week, on the 5th of November. I went ahead and I locked in my profits on Nvidia. Total profit was about $9,200. Here's the contract. Here's the one that I had left. Cost basis was $9. I sold it for around $84 a contract, so a huge percent gain, almost 1,000%. This P&L was $7,400, and then you guys know I sold one previously. I had 2 contracts. So the total P&L on Nvidia alone was $9,213. So I sold those on the 5th of November. I talked about why, I want the liquidity. I didn't want to exercise the contracts. One, because I wanted the liquidity and not putting into a set buy IRA. And then also, you got to expect Nvidia to pull back at some point, right? So did I want to just hold these contracts, right? These still have another whole week of time, almost 2 weeks about a week of time, right? Until expiration. So I would just need to be blindly holding this right now if I wanted to have these two expire in the money. I didn't want to just blindly hold these, because who knows? Nvidia could pull back to like 270s, 260s if something really nasty happens, and I'm just gonna watch this money evaporate. So not something I wanted to do, but that is what I did. I had a lot of people questioning me why I sold, and you know what? Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but I'm gonna take profits. So Nvidia pull back below 295. We're at 291 here in the pre-market. So a pretty nasty drop. But are you going to say that you don't expect that to drop? Look at this run. You don't expect Nvidia to move lower? You have to. This is a huge move. So where can Nvidia pull back to? Now, I would say this 4-hour candle that's just insane from back on last Thursday, that may be hard to find support in. That may be pretty hard to find support in. So does this move straight back down to 273? I wouldn't like to see that for some of the people out there, because I know some of you still have Nvidia. So I hope not, for your sake. But it's possible. There's not much support in this area. You guys can see, look at these green bars. There's just nothing there to hold this up in this area. So if market really does start to move lower, I would expect Nvidia to come back towards this 270s. So right here, where you have some of this structure that starts to come in, 270s is where I'd expect it to maybe pull back to. And if it does, I will be potentially a huge buyer of this here. J Haas. So 275, that's the level I'd watch. And just be careful in this big gap here on Nvidia. Big gap. Let's quickly look at AMD. So AMD also losing it a little bit, of course, just like everything else. The chip stocks were hot, and maybe they just need a little bit of a rest, guys. Things need to rest. Just like you rest, stocks need to rest too. So I would watch the 142. That's probably the level I'd want to see hold right here. 142. I want to see that. 142 hold. That would be an important hold for me. After that, maybe these highs right here around 138, 137. That would be a nice hold. And then after that, the lows right here, 134. So those are some levels that I would be watching. The 142 here would be a nice one. I would want to see that hold. 142 on AMD. Everyone keeps saying Riot. Wow. Yeah, decent move. Decent little move on Riot here, guys. I was actually really close to buying a swing trade on Riot yesterday. If you guys are in the Discord, you know that. I was very close to buying it yesterday. We'll see. Maybe that's the one that outperforms today. If the market gets weak, maybe it's crypto that's worth the watch. So I think Riot's fine here. It held up really nicely yesterday. Nice consolidation. You guys can see, nice little push. Look at this consolidation yesterday. So the red area is this 40 resistance. And that's really a tough area. But it held really nicely here, Riot. So let's see. Can it push today? That would be interesting. Can it push today? That's what I'd be watching. What's Bitcoin doing here? Bitcoin. Oh, big move straight up on Bitcoin, huh? Jeez. Yeah, big move on crypto. All right. So, yeah, the CPI, that's probably what it is, the CPI numbers. Okay, we got to get going here, though. All right, so we got Nvidia, Dash, and Amazon. Dash, big earnings move. I'm not going to spend too much time here because I don't know how many of you guys are interested in Dash, but 224. 224 is right up. Let me go to the 4-hour chart so we can see this. Here we go. 4-hour chart. 224. Let me get more time. There. All right. Delete, delete, delete. So this is the level here, right? So you have 224 resistance, 224 resistance, 224 resistance, and you're back in it right now, guys. So please be careful on Dash. Make sure it starts to hold. I would want to see a few days of consolidation and then a push higher. You want to see it start to consolidate up here. Amazon. So Amazon was very strong yesterday. Amazon's starting to break out of this daily channel that we continue to talk about. A lot of people ask me about Amazon. I say I don't like it if it's in the channel. But you're starting to break above the channel. You guys can see that, right? So you're starting to break above the channel, and you're actually almost, I think you just about filled this gap. You finally filled this gap here. That was a gap down off earnings. You didn't quite fill it here. You went ahead and you just filled it yesterday. So that gap has officially been filled on Amazon yesterday, moving up. If we look at yesterday's price action, it's actually very interesting. So very strong day for Amazon yesterday, regardless of the NASDAQ. NASDAQ was falling all day. And Amazon just continued to push higher. So interesting move on Amazon. Maybe it's getting a little bit of sympathy from Rivian IPO. I'm not quite sure why you would see this move. I'm assuming that's got to be it. But this 3580 level looks tough. 3600 is going to be very tough. So let's see what happens. But Amazon definitely one to watch because of the strength. Because of the strength that we have seen here yesterday. Very strong outperformance. All right, so let's go over. Let me think of anything I quickly want to show you that I think is valuable. Let's just quickly run through some of these. Like, let's look at some recent movers. I already did Coinbase, Teddy. There's no reason to spam the chat, sir. Roblox, we can look at this real quick. Strong from yesterday. And you can see, all right. One more time, that's it. Oh, there it is. That was it. And thank you, JJ. Appreciate you, sir. All right, so 104. I didn't expect it to get through 104 yesterday. I'll look at Qualcomm too. I did not expect it to get through 104 yesterday, and it did. At the end of the day, it started to push through. So you had this 104. It hit it in the earnings, pulled back, hit it again, resisted. The reason I didn't think it was going to get through is because that was previous resistance right here at 104. I thought it was going to fail. That's why I looked away. But we can see that it ended up getting through near end of day. 5-minute chart. Here's end of day. Started to get through. So guys, today, webcams.chat, hot girls and boys video chat. Jesus Christ. God. That's unbelievable. So that makes me laugh. 104 today. You want to see this thing hold 104. That's the level you don't want to see. If it breaks and retests 104 and holds it, that's what I'd want to see. So watch 104 today. See if that holds its support. Hot girls. Qualcomm. We talked about this on the video yesterday. 162.50. That's the level. 162.50. That is what I want to be watching. 162.50 today. Qualcomm's holding up fine to me. It really is. So, all right. I'm going to quickly go over two. I got to go quick. Just got to go over to Discord. BBY and MA are the two that are in for the members. So BBY, Best Buy, big move, breaking through this really nice consolidation for a long time. YT, I would probably want to see this pull back, man. I don't know if I would be chasing this here. Maybe a pullback to this 122, 123. But yeah, this is tough. This is tough for me to say. You just have to really, just focus on the short-term momentum. But if you're looking at a longer-term trade, I'd want to see at least a retest of this 123. MasterCard. I've been trying to see if I can catch a MasterCard trade, but I just haven't been able to see anything. Nothing's really forming here. We did try to hold this. We did hold this 320, but this 360 level, I need to see that break through. So 360. If whoever suggested MA, I wouldn't touch MA until 360 breaks, personally, to the upside. I'd want to see this break. I'd want to see it hold, form this as support, and then push higher. That's what I'd want to see. You are up here in the pre-market, probably because of some bank strength, some financials, but I want to see that 360 hold, 360 push. All right, guys, let's do a quick look at the NASDAQ before I leave you, and then we got to get out of here. So 1 minute chart. So we're trying to hold the 50 SMA on the 4 hour, guys. That's what it is. So anyone out there that's listening, 50 SMA on the 4 hour, that is what we're trying to hold right now. So if I go to the 4 hour chart, you will see it right here. See that 50 SMA? That's what we're trying to hold. So that is a must hold today. That's how I'll leave you. Hopefully everyone has a great day. 300 likes is weak. If you guys could, please press the like button. Press the like button. Subscribe if you'd like. If you want to join the Discord, it's the first link down below. If you want to support the channel and have me look at your tickers like YT does every day, I will just join the YouTube membership. You press that join button down below. I don't think a lot of people aren't taking advantage of it, but I guess that makes my job easier, right? So only two submissions today for the YouTube tickers. So if you want me to look at tickers for you in the morning, press that join button down below. I will do that. I do it every day. Thank you guys again for being here. Thank you for all the support on the channel. It's been incredible. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. A little bit of a interesting time in the market. So don't get your hopes, don't get crushed too much. Don't get all down. There's going to be some interesting times, some hard times. The ones that come out on top, the ones that save their capital, don't over leverage themselves, are usually the ones that win. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you guys again, and I hope to see you in the next stream. Peace out.